Have you ever looked at your business and wondered, why am I posting every day, but nobody is buying? Why am I getting likes, but no sales? Why am I working so hard, but my revenue is not reflecting my effort? What if I told you that your problem might not be your product? It might not be your price. It might not even be your marketing budget. The real problem could be something much simpler. People are confused, and confused people do not buy. Today, we are talking about one of the most expensive problems in business, a clarity problem. Because when your message is unclear, your customers hesitate. And when your customer hesitates, sales slow down. Moreover, when sales slow down, cash flow suffers. Today, I am going to show you why clarity creates confidence. Confidence creates action, and action creates revenue. And on that note, I will be right back.
Welcome to the Marketing Lab, where ideas become strategy and strategy becomes movement. Built for entrepreneurs, creators, coaches, consultants, and quiet builders ready to stop guessing. Here, we break down marketing, leadership, systems, and execution in a way you can actually use. Because you don't have to know how to sell, but you do have to know how to market. Have you ever had a dream that wouldn't leave you alone? A business idea, a book, or a vision for a better life? Yet every year you tell yourself, and maybe next year. But what if the timing is never perfect? What if the only thing standing between you and the life you want is one decision? That's why I wrote Quit or Shut Up. This is about the mindset and discipline to finally finish what you started. Discover how to overcome fear, build momentum, and turn your vision into reality in the next 90 days. Quit or Shut Up launches July 22nd. Pre-order your copy today at quitorShutUp.com. Stop waiting, start building. Will you quit or will you shut up and get to work?
Welcome to the Marketing Lab. I'm your host, Coach LJ, and you already know the vibe. You don't have to know how to sell, but you do have to know how to market. Today, we are talking about a topic that has the power to completely transform your business. Why nobody is buying from you in 2026. The brutal truth most entrepreneurs ignore, because clarity problems equals money problems. Moreover, confused customers do not buy. One of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make is assuming their audience understands what they do. The truth is, they do not. Cutler and Armstrong explain that successful marketing begins with clearly communicating value to a target audience. Notice, they did not say create value. They said communicate value. You can have the greatest product in the world, but if people do not understand it, they will not buy it. Research consistently shows that customers make decisions quickly. When people encounter confusion messaging, their brains treat uncertainty as risk, and people avoid risk. That is why websites with unclear headlines lose visitors. That is why social media pages with vague messaging struggle to convert. That is why businesses with complex offers often generate fewer sales than those with simpler ones. Customers should never have to work hard to understand what you do, whom you help, how you help them, and why it matters. If they had to figure it out, you have already lost them. Now that we understand why confusion kills sales, let us talk about what clarity actually creates. And let us keep it a buck. Clarity does much more than help people understand you. It helps them trust you. Clarity creates confidence. People buy when they feel confident. Confidence comes from clarity. Think about it. When you are shopping online and the product description is vague, what happens? You hesitate. When a service provider cannot clearly explain their offer, what happens? You hesitate. When a business does not clearly communicate results, what happens? You hesitate. Hesitation is the enemy of revenue. The Apostle Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 14:33, "For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace." Confusion creates anxiety. Clarity creates peace. This principle applies spiritually and professionally. Customers need peace before they purchase. They need confidence before they commit. The clearer your message, the easier it is for people to say yes. At the Noun University, one of the biggest lessons we teach is that marketing is not about sounding impressive. Marketing is about being understood. Many entrepreneurs spend years trying to sound intelligent. The businesses that grow fastest focus on sounding clear. But clarity is not just about words. It is also about positioning. And that is where many businesses accidentally sabotage themselves. If you confuse your positioning, you confuse your audience. One question every business must answer: what business are you really in? Many entrepreneurs try to be everything to everybody. As a result, they become memorable to nobody. For example, are you a business coach, a leadership consultant, a motivational speaker, a marketing strategist, an author, or an educator? The answer may be yes to all of them, but your customer needs one primary message. At the Noun University, we have learned that successful brands simplify before they expand. Apple is a technology company. Nike is an athletic brand. McDonald's sells convenience. Their businesses are much more complex than that, but their positioning remains simple. Yorks reminds us that effective leadership requires communicating vision clearly enough for people to understand and follow. The same principle applies to marketing. If your audience cannot repeat your message, it is too complicated. Once your position becomes clear, the next challenge is ensuring your marketing consistently reflects that clarity. And this is where consistency becomes a competitive advantage because clarity requires consistency. Many entrepreneurs change their message every week. Monday, they are talking about leadership. On Wednesday, they are talking about cryptocurrency. Friday, they are talking about relationships. On Saturday, they are talking about real estate. And on Sunday, they are talking about fitness. Their audience, algorithm, brand, and eventually their revenue becomes confused. Shorehorn teaches that organizations perform better when systems align around clear objectives. Marketing works the same way. Consistency creates familiarity. Familiarity creates trust. And trust creates sales. That is why every episode of the Marketing Lab begins with the same statement. You don't have to know how to sell, but you do have to know how to market. Over time, repetition creates recognition. Recognition creates authority, and authority creates opportunities. Now, let us bring this home with one practical question every entrepreneur should ask themselves. Can your customer explain what you do? Here is a simple test. Ask someone, what does my business do? If they struggle to answer, you have a clarity problem. If they answer differently from you, you have a clarity problem. If they cannot explain the transformation you provide, you have a clarity problem. Your message should be so simple that a teenager can explain it. Jesus often taught profound truths through simple stories. Complexity impresses people. Clarity influences people. The businesses making the most money are often not the smartest. They are often the clearest. That is why we say clarity problems create money problems. When clarity improves, revenue often follows. Speaking of clarity, one of the major themes in my upcoming book is learning to stop quitting every time things get difficult and start building systems that deliver consistent results. That brings me to something I am incredibly excited about. My new book, Quit or Shut Up, launches July 22nd, 2026. This book was written for entrepreneurs, professionals, dreamers, and builders who are tired of starting over. It is for people who know they have potential but need structure, discipline, and execution. The first 100 people who pre-order will receive free access to the 90-day challenge for 90 days, and everyone else get 50% off for 90 days, because transformation does not happen through motivation alone. Transformation happens through consistent action. The book is the door. The 90-day challenge is where real growth happens. As we close today's episode, I want to leave with you one question. If your ideal customers landed on your website, social media page, or sales page today, would they immediately understand whom you help, what problem you solve, why should they trust you, and what should they do next? If not, your next marketing strategy is not another platform, logo, or product. It is clarity, because clarity creates confidence, confidence creates action, and action creates revenue. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Marketing Lab. I'm Coach LJ, and remember, you don't have to know how to sell, but you do have to know how to market. Until next time, keep learning, keep building, and keep moving forward. And you already know what's coming next. Deuces! Hey!
Have you ever had a dream that wouldn't leave you alone? A business idea, a book, or a vision for a better life? Yet every year you tell yourself, and maybe next year. But what if the timing is never perfect? What if the only thing standing between you and the life you want is one decision? That's why I wrote Quit or Shut Up. This is about the mindset and discipline to finally finish what you started. Discover how to overcome fear, build momentum, and turn your vision into reality in the next 90 days. Quit or Shut Up launches July 22nd. Pre-order your copy today at quitorshutup.com. Stop waiting. Start building. Will you quit or will you shut up and get to work?